after just being so dead the entire date, to ask if I want to go back to your coffin with you. No, I do not want to do that. That sounds like a terrible idea. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to day 12 of Youtober for today's coffee talk, Youtober related coffee talk. I thought it would be fun since I'm putting a Halloween/autumn spin on all of the coffee talks for this month that I would tell you scary boy stories. I'm in I say my later 20s, I'm 26, but I've done some dating, and I think anybody that's dipped into the dating pool, everybody has some horror stories. And today I figured I would share my own dating horror stories. I have no ill intent to anybody I have ever dated. I feel like I just need to put that out there. There's just that lack of compatibility that sometimes is almost kind of laughable. You know what I mean? Like I think, especially because I'm going to be doing a story time version and I'm putting a Halloween twist on everything today, I feel like it should go without saying, but just in case it doesn't go without saying, I don't actually believe that that Ken Barbie was potentially a murderer, or all names have been changed by the way, but I don't think necessarily that burning up Brad, that there was anything energetically wrong with his body that made my body just not react well. You're probably wondering what the heck. So let's dive in to my scary boy stories. Screw ghosts. We don't need to be haunted by ghosts when we're haunted by dating in the modern day. For those of you guys that are just listening, I swapped in my coffee today for a glass of red wine because if we're gonna have boy chats, I had to get the whole vibe going. So feel free to pour yourself a cozy beverage, a wine glass, whatever you want. Nestle in, get cozy, and sit around the metaphorical coffee talk bonfire while we tell scary boy stories. First on the chopping block is serial killer Ken. I'll profile each of them. We're gonna do this kind of like we're in a murder mystery case, and I'll give you guys a full profile, makeup, everything, and then tell you the story. So serial killer Ken's profile makeup would be, he was a couple years older than me, he was a model, and he was really obsessed with true crime, specifically serial killers, hence the name. So when I first moved to Toronto, I was jumping out of a small pond into the frickin' ocean when it came to dating. Okay, I was single when I moved to Toronto, and I was coming from Kingston, Ontario of 200 and some odd thousand people to a city of millions, and I was ready to dip into the man pool. That sounds dirty, but all I mean is that I didn't even know what my type was. I didn't know what I was interested in. I just wanted to go on dates. I just wanted to meet people, and so I did. When I first moved here, I didn't go on a ton of dates, but I went on quite a few in the first few weeks of living here. I was just I didn't dip my toe into Toronto. I didn't slowly move. I moved in, joined Tinder, and just started going on dates. That's how I ended up meeting my ex, but before I met my ex, I had gone on a few other dates, and serial killer Ken was one of those dates. In fact, we actually went on a few dates. I really just I didn't know what I was in. He was just really good looking. I'm stumbling on my words by just trying to beat around the fact that he was beautiful. He was drop dead gorgeous, just a beautiful, beautiful person to look at. Hence why we're calling him Ken, Barbie Ken. He was a model, but the thing is that you take that equation, someone who's beautiful and is a model, he knows he's beautiful. And it definitely came across like he knew he was beautiful, which is no shame. He was beautiful, so he should know that. But I feel like it was apparent that he knew that. On our second date, we were sitting at a restaurant, but it was a shared table. So it was a bigger table, and you can sit and have two seaters or whatever, but there's people that are not far from you that are at the same table, but far enough away that you're having separate dinners type of thing. And serial killer Ken got up to go to the bathroom, and there was two guys, two buddies beside us that were having a drink, and they reached in and they were do you want us to save you from this date? And I was what? I was a little confused. I was pardon? Again, I'm third week in Toronto, okay? Nobody does this back at home. And I'm I mean, I don't know. And not only that, okay, I feel like I've worked a lot on my self-confidence, but back in the day, I was riddled with self-doubt. I'm still riddled with self-doubt, but like back then, if someone were to be like, things don't seem okay, are you okay? It would make me feel like something wasn't okay. Like I wouldn't trust my own instinct to know whether or not something was okay. And so that kind of like triggered something in me because I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, should something be wrong? I think it was just the fact that when this guy, sweetheart, but I mean, I don't think he realized how much he tended to kind of, what's a good way to put it? Like, boast a little bit. Like, he was just like, he talked about himself a lot. And I think that that's maybe why, looking back now, they reached over and they were like, do you want us to save you from this? As in, like, this guy seems like he's kind of full of himself. Like, do you want out of this date? But at the time, I was just naive. I honestly, my standards were good looking. And I was like, no, I think I'm okay. Thank you. So the date ends. Again, just a red flag, red flag. So date number 3, serial killer Ken invites me over to make me dinner. And I thought this was nice. I was like, wow, yeah, I would love for you to make me dinner. Like, that sounds great. He was chivalrous enough to walk to my apartment and then walk me to his place because this was winter time, so it gets dark really early at that time. He thought it wouldn't be safe for me to walk alone at night, which is, again, in hindsight, weird because I feel like, anyway, we'll get there. But he walked all the way to my place and then walked me back. It was like a 10-minute walk, but still in the cold, super nice. So we go to his apartment, and the first thing I noticed when I walked in is I was like, it doesn't look like someone's living here. Like, there's nothing on his walls. Like, very, just super, like, basic. It kind of looked like an Airbnb almost, if you will. And I was just like, okay, weird. But again, I'm like, I tend to be a little over the top when I like aesthetics and decor. So I'm like, you know what? Not everybody needs 12 throw pillows. That's fine. Like, maybe not everybody wants gallery walls on every open space in their house. That makes sense to me. So he makes me dinner. We're chatting away. And then another red flag appears. He had mentioned a few times that he was into true crime, and I'm into true crime. In fact, I grew up, like, one of the few fond family memories I have growing up is Dateline, NBC being on the TV in the family room, and sometimes my family on the odd occasion would all sit down and watch Dateline. So that's like I like true crime for that reason. I'm weird with true crime because I feel like watching stuff like that sometimes affects my energy, but I also have like a nostalgic yearn for it. It's weird. Anyways, I understood. I was like, I like true crime too. We would talk about it quite often, but this night in particular, he brings it up again. But this time he brings up the fact that he did jury duty for a case where there was like someone was murdered. And I was like, okay, interesting. Tell me about that experience. And so he goes on, but the thing, like, I feel like it was like, okay, red flag, and I'm just like naively walking past and around the red flags, and then all of a sudden it was like red flag, because he just went on and on about, 1, all of the ways the murderer got caught based on his evidence, 2, all of the ways that he would have been able to get away with said murder because of the like negligence on the murderer's part, and then 3, went as far as being like, if I was a serial killer, like, this is how I would do it. And like, I get social anxiety often, and it doesn't happen all of the time, but if anything triggers anything inside of me that makes me feel like I'm not safe in public, it's like it used to be uncontrollable. I'm way better with it now, but at that time I was not seeing a therapist. I was not dipping into my mental state. I was not doing my healing inner child work, any of that. None of that had been even touched yet. So I instantly just get this overwhelming instinctual feeling of I need to leave. I do not want to be here anymore. I don't want to be eating dinner. We're only like 2 glasses into wine. Like, I just felt like I needed to leave. And I mean, you gotta honor that. I feel like sometimes our bodies tend to instinctually pick up on things, but I also know that I suffer from an anxiety disorder. So who's to say? I don't know. I like to trust myself because that helps me work more friendlier with my anxiety. Basically, I'm saying he probably wasn't a serial killer, but The vibes were there and my body was like, nope. So anyway, I say I have to go to the bathroom. I go into the washroom. I'm having a full-on panic attack and my phone's dead. So I can't text my sister. I can't call my sister. That's literally who I ended up texting when I got home when this all ended, because I'm here, I'm alive. He didn't kill me, but my phone's dead. I'm a little bit tipsy. I'm having a panic attack in this strangely sterile, like non-decorated bathroom. And I'm just like, how do I get out of this situation? How do I leave? What do I do? Like, I'm freaking out. Something, for whatever reason, makes me feel like this guy isn't safe. I don't want to be here. I just want to be at home. I just want to be holding Bentley. Like, I was just like freaking out. I lost all my sense of chill. So I did what any person who's ever had a panic attack and doesn't know what to do but needs to leave a situation does, and just literally made the most awkward exit of probably my entire dating history. I came out of the bathroom, pretended my sister had called, and I suddenly had to go. Like, literally didn't have an excuse. Not only that, most used excuse in the book, somebody calls and you have to go. I feel really bad because it was very abrupt, and I don't think he knew I was feeling anxious. Didn't feel safe to say I was panicking because I was also low-key panicking based on the amount of serial killer talk. So I left. And then the funny follow-up to this story is 2 years later, Larissa and I were at an event, and this model, beautiful, he was beautiful, walks in the door, and we make the most awkward eye contact because, mind you, we had gone on 3 dates 2 years prior. This guy seems like the kind of guy that probably went on a lot of dates. And I feel like he was like, do I know her? Meanwhile, I'm sitting there being like, Larissa, that serial killer Ken. And that was that. So my next scary boy story is Vampire Vince. And I would like to call him Vampire. His Vampire Vince's profile is a couple years older, tall, dark, and handsome, but is so negative, he sucks the life out of you. That's a little mean. That was a little harsh, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna stick to it. So Vampire Vince and I knew each other through association, and Vampire Vince slides into my DMs and asks to take me on a date. Now, I knew that Vampire Vince had a tendency to do this. There was a couple people that I didn't know personally, but I knew through association. He had slid into their DMs and asked them on a date, but I was just like, yeah, you know what? Because again, I was young, liked going on dates, honestly. When someone asks you out on a date, you're just kind of like, yeah, I guess. I think the problem with people that slide into your DMs and don't know you, but based on your social media, conceptualize an idea about you is a problem. Especially, I think, if you post or you create any sort of content for work or any kind of branded content or any kind, like if social media is your job, which it is my job, that makes it even weirder. So Vampire Vince definitely had a preconceived notion of what he thought he was getting himself into. And at the time, like I said, I was younger. So I feel like my social media definitely reflects a lot more of my values and who I am, and even just like I guess just the different things that make me who I am as a person. But back in the day, I've definitely fallen into that mindset of kind of posting social media or posting to social media in order to kind of like look like you're living a certain aesthetic or life. And I feel like, not that I was doing that by any means at this time, but I feel like if you would have not known me in person and only known me through social media and you were a guy, I had posted like a few fitness booty pics around this time. I was posting some beach bikini pics, and so I feel like he thought he was getting an Instagram Barbie and not like a Taylor Swift super fan, cozy comfort, loves to talk about mental health and ways to help the world and why human life exists type. I don't think he was planning on opening that can of worms. See, I'm just like a really passionate person. So especially when I go on dates and I meet people, whether I'm on a date or not, I'm passionate about life and I love to talk about things. And I assume when you're on dates that that's a good thing. That's a good sign when you've got a lot of rapport going. But so when we go out on this date and we go to this restaurant that he chose, which was fine. Like, he definitely took charge of the situation, but in a way that I could instantly feel was a little bit, again, dealing with a little bit of that bravado, it's a masculine thing. We get it. Even his body language kind of rubbed me wrong. You know, it just kind of seemed so like leaning back with like one arm in his chair. He knew the people that ran the restaurant, so he would be like, oh, like, Billy, like, can you bring us a bottle of, and like, I don't know wine. So whatever wine he said, I wouldn't have known if it was fancy or not. And I was just like, I didn't even really know if I wanted to drink red, and apparently now I do. But at the time I actually didn't really like red wine. So I was just like, okay, Kalyn, we're drinking red wine. That's fine. Like, the problem is, I don't feel like I have a physical type, but if I were to say that I lean one way, the tall, dark, and handsome thing usually gets me. And I feel like I was trying really hard to like give Vampire Vince the benefit of the doubt, but Vampire Vince his whole demeanor was just so like lifeless and like blah, and I just feel like it kind of came across a little bit disrespectful, you know? Normally I'm attracted to the tall, dark, and handsome, but I just felt myself like repelled, and I felt like it was like if I got excited about something, he would act like that wasn't cool, and it was almost like being a little kid and being like shunned. Like, he asked me about my job and I got like really excited telling him about what I do, and he was like, that's cool. And I just felt all of the energy just be like sucked out of me. And I was just like, yeah, it is cool. We were talking, and like at one point he pulls out his phone and checks it. And I was just like, okay, all right. Maybe I'm just so far, at the time I hadn't gone on a lot of dates, and I was just like, maybe I've just been so far out of the game that like I just don't realize that this is how people date now. Like, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way, but maybe I just have too high of expectations. That's a problem that we'll talk about another time, because that definitely is not the case. But I was just like, what is this guy's deal? Like, he just seems so like lifeless, dead. You seem like a vampire because you're sucking all the fun out of this, and like you're yawning, like just acting like he's too cool to care. I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I messaged my friend who knew this date was happening at the time, and I was just like, this sucks. Like, there's no way he likes me. Like, his entire vibe is almost like, it just seems like disinterest and distaste for me. It's just, this sucks. So anyway, I go back and I sit down at the table, and Vampire Vince looks up and has the audacity to ask if I want to go back to his place. Okay, Vampire Vince, I see your game. First and foremost, red flag, should have seen the fact that we went out for dinner at like 9:30. Second red flag, Vampire Vince, literally entire body language just seems so disinterested, not just in me, but in life itself. After just being so dead the entire date, to ask if I want to go back to your coffin with you. No, I do not want to do that. That sounds like a terrible idea. So just to wrap up the Vampire Vince story, a couple weeks later, the friend that I texted when I was in the washroom told me that Vampire Vince said I was boring. That he thought I was somebody else, but then when we finally went out for dinner, that I was boring. You're damn right you took me out for dinner and I talked about the things that I enjoy. And if you even wanted to get close to bringing your dead ass back to life with this, then you need to respect a lady with some passion. You need to show up with that energy. You don't need to even meet me there. You just gotta show it. But hey, I guess that's fair. When you've been dead for hundreds of years, someone that is lively and passionate and excited might seem boring to you. Not a mood, okay? That ain't no Edward Cullen, I'm telling you that much. So this next scary boy story is probably my juiciest and spiciest, if you will, because it's burning up Brad. But before we do, I'll leave you with a little bit of anticipation while I leave you guys with some of the messages that brought you guys today's Coffee Talk podcast episode. They're who pays my bills, my friends. So while we take a quick break from today's Coffee Talk podcast episode, I wanted to let you in on some of the sponsors that brought you guys today's episode for free, starting with Mint Mobile. So if you want to break up with your old wireless provider, then it just got a lot easier due to Mint Mobile. They were the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, and now Mint Mobile is introducing their unlimited data plan for just $30 a month. If you want to just let that sink in for a second, only $30 a month. How much is your soon-to-be ex-wireless provider charging you? So a friend of mine actually recently started using Mint Mobile and she's loving the service. It was delivered right to her doorstep and her phone was up and running in just a few minutes. It was super simple, super convenient, and she loves it. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Plus, you can still use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, then Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. So break up with Big Wireless and switch to Mint Mobile's premium unlimited data plan for just $30 a month. To get your new unlimited wireless plan and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, just go to mintmobile.com/Kalyn. That's mintmobile.com/KALYN. Cut your unlimited wireless bill to $30 a month by going to mintmobile.com/Kalyn. All my fellow foodies out there, if you're ready to get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered straight to your door, then you're going to want to hear about HelloFresh. First of all, you can save time, money, and stress effortlessly because HelloFresh offers convenient delivery right to your doorstep for easy home cooking with family recipes, or if you live alone just like I do. The recipes are super easy to follow, really quick to make, with simple steps and pictures to guide you along the way. Plus, they cut out all the stressful meal planning and grocery store trips, which is amazing this time of year, leaving you able to enjoy cooking and getting dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less. Not to mention, they aren't only just delicious and nutritious, but there's tons of variety. HelloFresh offers so many delicious options every single week to help you break out of your recipe rut and try new things. There's recipes for everyone, including vegetarian or kid-friendly recipes. Plus, they deliver fresh, high-quality, pre-portioned ingredients so you can make meals that are delicious and nutritious, with over 90% of their ingredients sourced directly from growers to ensure the freshest recipes are delivered to your door. The other great thing about HelloFresh is it helps you eat more sustainably. HelloFresh delivers pre-portioned ingredients so that you're not overbuying, and the packaging that HelloFresh uses to ship your food is almost entirely made out of recycled or recyclable content. Not to mention, they're committed to giving back. HelloFresh is making fresh, delicious food available now more than ever, and they're taking extra steps to keep their employees and customers safe, including contactless delivery, tamper-proof packaging, and team member wellness checks. They also donated over 2.5 million meals to charity in 2019, and this year they're stepping up food donations to local communities amid the coronavirus crisis. Now, scrolling through the menu online, there's tons of amazing looking meals like kale and cranberry and walnut stuffed squash, which sounds so perfect for fall. But then they also have a ton of other varieties, like in 30 minutes you can make yourself a Brussels and ricotta flatbread, which again sounds amazing. Go to hellofresh.com/talk80 and then you can use my code talk80 to get a total of $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. Again, that's hellofresh.com/talk80 and then use that same code talk80 to get a total of $80 off across 5 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. So while we take a quick break from today's Coffee Talk podcast episode, I want to ask you, what do you feel interferes with your happiness? Or is there something that's getting in the way of you achieving your goals? I know for me, throughout my entire life, I've gone through waves of feeling just, at least even just semi-neutral, or like I can get through the day-to-day. But there have also been times where I've really struggled with my mental health. I've opened up a lot about how therapy has been such a huge help for me, and I specifically do therapy online because of the convenience and because I was able to find a therapist that I actually matched with rather than having to go one and one over and over again, meeting with a bunch of different therapists. It's just so much easier online. And that's why BetterHelp is amazing, because they're going to help assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You'll be able to connect in a safe and private online environment, which, like I said, is so convenient. Plus, you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. Now, this is not self-help. It's actually professional counseling, and you're able to send a message to your counselor at any time. Now, all of this is without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting waiting room. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so that they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. Like I said, so you can find a counselor that actually matches and vibes well with you. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Plus, this service is available for clients worldwide. There's a broad range of expertise available that might not be locally available in so many areas, and they have licensed professionals who are specialized in things like depression, stress, anxiety, relations, sleeping, trauma, and so much more. Anything you share is confidential, it's convenient, it's professional, it's affordable, and you can check out a lot of their testimonials posted daily to their site. In fact, so many people are using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. If you want to start living a happier life today, as a listener, you can get 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/coffeetalk. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/coffeetalk. All right, are we ready for this third scary boy story? I want to tell you the legend of burning up Brad. This is more recent. I have done a lot of self-work in the last little bit, and I feel like a lot of the decisions that I've made dating-wise, looking back now with the wisdom that I have now, I would make different decisions. But burning up Brad taught me a lot, because I feel like this was the first time I ever realized how incredibly complicated but intuitive our bodies are. If serial killer Ken didn't teach me that my body's instincts are way more intelligent than I am, then burning up Brad definitely did. Okay, let me get into the story, because you're probably wondering, burning up Brad, your brain's probably going to some places. So let me give you Brad's profile. So burning up Brad is older. I met burning up Brad in Toronto. I'm just gonna call him Brad because it's just too long to say burning up Brad. I met Brad in Toronto, and Brad was 10 plus years older than me. Now, at the time that I met Brad, I was not feeling particularly confident or good about myself, and I was just honestly looking for somebody that could self-validate me, but I could also have deep intellectual conversations with. So basically what I'm saying is I was kind of just looking for somebody to sleep with, but someone that I could sleep with but also have deep late night conversations with, but that I wouldn't date. Like, I wasn't intending to date burning up Brad, and I don't think burning up Brad was intending to date me either, but that's besides the point. So burning up Brad was in his later 30s. Burning up Brad was very good looking, very successful, mind you. He was some sort of like CEO of something. He played it really cool, honestly, and that was hella attractive. I'm not gonna lie. He played it very low key despite his success. But I also feel like, so when I date, I normally don't tell people what I do, and I normally keep my social media out of it, at least until a few dates in. So I feel like it kind of worked, because I also was playing my job a little chill and cool, because people can get really weird when you're on dates and you tell them what you do for a living. And I also don't like when people can go watch my content, kind of like I said with Vampire Vince. Like, I don't like people making preconceived notions on who I am. I like to get to know people first before they find out what I do. So we both kind of played it chill on our jobs, then both found out that we were pretty successful. And he was a little bit older, so like we definitely had deep conversations, and he definitely had some life wisdom, you know? Like, there was a lot of boxes checked in terms of what I think we were both needing at the time. But my body did not agree at all. So like I said, I was looking to just have a little fun with Brad. But every single time Brad and I had fun, I would get this really weird physical sensation. Okay, this might be weird. I don't know if anybody listening has ever experienced this before. If you have, let me know so I feel a little less weird about it. I told my friends about it, and I feel like they said they've had kind of similar things happen. But this is basically this is the breakdown. Okay, we would get down to business, but as soon as we would go to get down to business, my entire body would burn up. Like, it almost felt like I was having an allergic reaction. I would just get hot, like really hot, and I would start sweating, and I could feel my cheeks burning, and it would be so uncomfortable, because especially like burning up Brad was super chill, super nice, but like I felt like I couldn't say anything because I didn't really understand what was happening. Burning alive from the inside out, but I just wouldn't really say anything, and again, like that's my own doing, but and it just like at first I thought it was just anxiety, but after like the third or fourth time it happened, I was like, okay, what is that? Like, what is going on there? So then TMI, but we're close here, so I'm just gonna be open and honest with you guys because this is just a normal part of human life, especially if you're a woman and you have lady parts. So it ended up becoming almost like a physical manifestation all across my body. I went and got tested. I had no STIs, nothing was wrong. It was literally just that every time I would sleep with him, my body, like it would throw off my entire pH levels. My entire body would burn up like I was on fire. And it basically felt like my body telling me no, like don't do this, like don't. It was weird because it was during a time that I was really trying to work casual sex into my life. Like I know that sounds, we're really getting honest and real, but it's okay because we're having wine today, so I feel like we can open up these doors. This is really friendly chat we're having today. But honestly, I just felt like I had for the longest time kind of shamed myself. I could only sleep with people I was dating, so I was trying to step outside my comfort zone, and he was just this beautiful, intelligent, successful man that we had really great, deep conversation with, but my body was just like, nope, bad, like don't do that. And it's weird because I feel like it's really hard to have friendships with guys, especially once you've crossed that line. Like you can't just be like, yo, we have deep conversations, you just want to hang out and not sleep together because every time you get close to me, my body burns up into an inferno. You can't say that. And so I feel like it just inevitably, I had to cut it loose. I had to stop seeing burning up Brad because it hurt. Like it physically hurt my body. It threw all of my hormones and pH levels off, and I was so sick of having to like drink cranberry juice on the regular. Anyways, tragic story, because burning up Brad was a sweetheart and I wish him all the best. But my body, I don't know why, it's weird because I tried looking into it and there's not a lot of information out there, but it makes you wonder, like, does our body, like physically or chemically, is it just literally a physical chemical reaction or compatibility with other people? It's really crazy to think how our bodies, minds, and souls all work together. But anyways, I digress because we have one more scary boy story.
This episode is sponsored by Apostrophe, a prescription skincare company that connects you with a dermatologist online who can prescribe you products to meet your skincare goals. Prescription skincare really works, but it can be hard to get and it's usually pretty expensive. Apostrophe makes prescription skincare that you'll actually want to use. Apostrophe makes it easy and affordable to see a board-certified dermatologist online. All you have to do is fill out Apostrophe's online questionnaire about your skin concerns and your medical history. Then just snap a few makeup-free selfies and your dermatologist will get back to you within 24 hours with a customized treatment plan tailored just for you. The best part is that Apostrophe offers topical and oral medications that help with skin concerns like breakouts, dark spots, fine lines and wrinkles, even redness. Apostrophe's compounding pharmacy custom blends and hand bottles your prescriptions and ships it directly to your door. Now, personally, I love being able to talk with actual professionals, especially when I feel like I'm in the dark with things like skincare. It's nice to know that you actually get to talk to a real dermatologist. Plus, I got to list out everything that I've tried before on my skin and detail what worked and what didn't. And because of that experience, I can tell that my treatment plan was customized exactly to my skin. So get your first visit with a board-certified dermatologist at apostrophe.com for only $5 if you use my code COFFEETALK. Now, this code is only available to my listeners, so if you want to get started, just go to apostrophe.com and click the begin visit. Then use the code COFFEETALK at sign up and you'll get your dermatology visit for only $5. That's apostrophe.com, apostrophe.com, and use that code COFFEETALK to get your dermatology visit for only $5. And a huge thank you to Apostrophe for sponsoring today's podcast. Today's podcast is also sponsored by the Forager Project. It's a family-owned, 100% organic, plant-based food company based in California dedicated to making the world a better place than they found it. Forager crafts dairy-free products like yogurts, kefirs, milks, and sour cream using their hero ingredient, organic cashews, for the creamiest base for all of its products. Forager Project is passionate about creating healthy, organic, plant-based food, and they are equally passionate about nurturing a healthy democracy. They believe that voting in the United States is the most essential ingredient needed to do this. Forager wants to inspire everyone to get out and vote in the US and participate in their democracy. They have provided voting resources and information for you at www.foragerproject.com/vote and on their socials at Forager Project. Cultivate democracy, and if you're in the United States, make sure you vote. This episode is brought to you by Public Goods, the one-stop shop for affordable, sustainable, healthy household products. From home to personal care to premium pantry staples, all in one place. Rather than buying a bunch of single product brands, Public Goods members can buy all of their premium essentials in one place with one beautiful, streamlined aesthetic. Public Goods searches the globe to find clean, healthy, eco-friendly, and innovative products like sulfate-free shampoos, hand sanitizer, tree-free paper products, pet foods, and more. Now, I personally love them because they're ethically sourced and they're so committed to making sure that everything that you use is clean, healthy, and eco-friendly. I've been trying really hard this year to be more aware and more conscious of the things that I'm consuming and making sure that not only the things that I use in my house or my day-to-day life are good and healthy for me, but also healthy for my little puppy. Plus, I love working with any brands that are committed to not only making life easier for you, but they're also committed to giving back and helping the world, and that's exactly what Public Goods is doing. Knowing what's in your products is important, and if we just make small changes in the way that we shop, we can make a huge impact on personal health and on the world at large. Now, Public Goods uses a membership model to keep low costs and pass on more savings to customers, but best of all, you can make your first purchase with no obligation. Now, like I mentioned, I love working with brands that are actually giving back to the community, and Public Goods plants one tree for every single order placed. So they've actually planted over 140,000 trees since September 2019. So we worked out an exclusive deal for all the Coffee Talk listeners. You can receive $15 off your Public Goods order with no minimum purchase. They're so confident that you are absolutely going to love their products and come back again and again that they're giving you $15 to spend on your first purchase. You have nothing to lose. Just go to publicgoods.com/Kalyn or just use the code KALYN at checkout. That is publicgoods.com/KALYN to receive $15 off your first order.
This one I themed off Outlander just because I know that that's not like really a Halloween vibe, but it kind of could be if you made this guy Jamie Fraser for Halloween. But I'm gonna tell you guys about Outlandish Oliver. This one hurts my soul, guys, because this is probably one of those bad boys, if you watch the Bad Boy Coffee Talk, that I will say I inevitably, like, I didn't trip or fall down it. I cannonballed into this bad boy, I tell ya. So let me give you a profile on Outlandish Oliver. Outlandish Oliver was from Scotland, living in Toronto, and had the most buttery freaking voice I have ever heard in my life. I didn't understand half the things he was saying, and I didn't even really care, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I remember our first date, he was Scottish, boy could drink, and we got lit and ate guacamole and drank so much wine, and we were just like, I remember giggling endlessly because I just kept on being like, I don't understand what you're saying, but like in my head I was melting and swooning because everything he said sounded beautiful. It sounded just exquisite to my ears. The red flags didn't come with Outlandish Oliver until I started recognizing the way that he would describe talking about me to his friends. Like, it kind of threw me off a little bit because he would mention that, like, in his group chat, he had told his friends that he had been on a few dates with this girl, and he had known about my job. He found it out relatively early on. Having like an insider for events or like parties and like things to go to, and that kind of threw me off a little bit because even though, yes, that is definitely with my job, I knew that there were going to be more events and parties and like restaurant openings and like fun things that you can do because you're in social media. But like, honestly, my social anxiety most of the the time makes me decline a lot of those things. It's a sad truth. And on top of that, so it kind of made this feeling of like, wait, I feel like you're more excited about the things that like I'm getting invited to than I am. And like you kind of seem more excited about that than you do about me. But I was young and decided to just bypass those red flags, just like every scary movie you've ever seen. So this one night I was in a hotel for work. I had this really pretty hotel room, and him and I went out for a date. We went out for dinner and it went really well. It was really fun. And he was talking about how the hotel I was staying in, he always wanted to see what the rooms look like. And again, guys, I know I probably knew then too, honestly, what he meant. But at that point, I think I was cool with it. So I was like, yeah, you should come see the hotel. Like, because I was staying with work or a company, the hotels that they normally put you in are quite fancy. And I was in a fancy room and I thought that was cool. And you know, things are more fun shared. And why am I justifying my actions? Yes, I chose to bring a beautiful Scottish man back to my hotel room. But I will say, like, again, hindsight 2020, red flag probably should have been how persistent he was about wanting to see this hotel room, especially with the prior red flags. But guys, butter, his voice was like butter. I'm not even gonna explain or justify myself again. So at this point, we're lit. Okay, like I said, Scottish can drink. So we were drunk and we go back to the hotel. And before we even get into the room, I won't get too spicy with you guys, but before we even get into the room, he like does this really like quite graceful, despite the amount of wine we had, gesture or move really, where he kind of like pinned me in the elevator and kissed me, and it was really cute and really romantic, and then kind of did it again before we even went into the room, like right against the hotel door. But I am a little bit of a slow mover, especially like I said, I have worked a lot on my self-doubt, but I tend to kind of work myself up in those situations, and I definitely did. I started feeling this like, oh my God, you know, things are kind of moving really fast and suddenly it's like I'm not in my body anymore and I just need to take a second. Just my anxiety just knocking on the door again, you know, ruining a perfect Outlander date. But on top of that, honestly, and just like important note to maybe even make, like, especially as a woman when you're drinking and you're on a date, when you do get that feeling like things are kind of getting ahead of themselves, I think it is important to note and to be like, to take a second if you need a second. And I needed a second. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom, classic move, you know, take a breath, refresh. And I went into the bathroom and I was like a little head spinny. I was like, I think I'm a little too drunk right now. And I don't know what I feel like doing, because if he keeps speaking, my body, this is like the complete opposite of burning up Brad, because it was like, if he keeps speaking, my body's gonna say yes, but my brain over here is like freaking out. Anyway, to avoid making this an R-rated podcast episode today, I'm sorry, I decided to lead with my body, which led to chilling and watching TV. And we were just kind of like hanging out. You know, we were in this beautiful hotel room. It felt like I was literally living some sort of dream that I didn't even know I had been missing out on dreaming yet. I was like, this is a dream in true form. Everything you're saying, I still don't understand. And now we're watching Britain's Got Talent. I don't understand the concoction of things going on, but I'm down for it. This woman comes out on the stage and we were just watching and like joking around and stuff, and this woman was heavier set, and she walks out on stage and he made, like, this I understood, he made the most grotesque comment about her physical appearance, and instantly I was like, pardon? Like, what did you just say? Did I hear you right? And he says it again. He's like, oh, I'm really bad at accents, but he's like, oh, like, oh, I'm gonna mess this bad. I'm only joking, lass, or like, that was Irish. What was that? I'm only kidding you. I'm only kidding you. I'm only making a joke. It was harsh. It was a harsh joke. And, you know, maybe I shouldn't take those things so seriously, but no, I'm sorry. Maybe I should. I am not gonna abandon my morals or values for a beautiful Scottish man. I was like, that was really rude. Outlandish Oliver starts getting a little outlandish. We start bickering a little bit, and I'm like, this is weird, because even guys that I have dated, guys that I had longer relationship, guys that you have met, literally, if you've been watching my channel, you've met some of my boyfriends. I have never gotten into like bickerments, one, this early on, and two, kind of, I guess, like over someone not understanding that what they just said was really offensive and like really out of line and really hurtful and kind of just like mean. The fact is like I could have let it slide. I honestly could have, but even though he said he was joking, I think he like liked that it bothered me, and he kept on saying things for like, I don't know if it was shock value or what, but I was just kind of like, and there were really just harsh, mean, terrible things about people's appearances, or like how appearances are all that really actually matters, and like all of this stuff. So keep in mind, this is the first time and the only time that I had, you know, that we had bypassed all of the previous baseball bases, if you will. And he follows it up by basically solidifying that entire experience in my mind as him just being a jerk. I just watched this beautiful dreamscape shatter in front of me, and we're also very wine drunk. And I am not normally a foot down type of person. Like, I feel like if you guys haven't noticed from these stories, I tend to lean into kindness when I'm uncomfortable, which is honestly, I think it's a good thing, but I also think it can sometimes be a problem because I basically abandon myself and shift all of my boundaries so that somebody else doesn't become uncomfortable. But this night, I was not about to do that. I was like, get out of my hotel room right now. And I don't know what came over me, but I actually told him to leave. I asked not so politely for him to basically get his things and go, because the things that he was saying were so offensive to me that I just could not. So to wrap that scary boy story and the final scary boy story up with a pretty little bow, this gets me. This is like one of those things, I don't like to hold resentment. I really don't. But this gets me because, especially looking back, I was younger then, but looking back now, I think I was in the right, but at the time I thought I was in the wrong. So the next day I sent him a message basically apologizing and saying that I felt like I was just a little too drunk and that I maybe took what he said too seriously, although I still didn't agree with what he had said. And he basically wrote back saying that I was a bitch, and Outlandish Oliver went, never to be seen again. So there you guys have it. Those are my scary boy stories. I hope you guys got some form of entertainment. Honestly, who needs ghost stories when you've got boy stories? That said, I want to hear your guys' boy stories if you feel so inclined to share. If you have any scary boy stories, feel free to write it in the comments down below if you're listening on YouTube. And if you're in any of the other areas of the podcast world, feel free to come on over to the Discord chat or to the YouTube chat to chat about your scary boy stories. Aside from that, I love you guys all the way through all of the other galaxies and back into the Milky Way. And I'll talk to all of you guys in next week's podcast, or if you're following the YouTuber train, then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye guys.